Aloha, everyone. It's so great to see everybody. Excuse me. Early this morning. I am so excited. I always joke with Craig, we have so many award-winning friends, and I'm super, super grateful for that. But this person is truly special to us. She was an inspiration for me as an ukulele player, and she's a joy to be around. Her music is absolutely beautiful. She plays so cleanly. And she is a multiple Nahoku Hano Hano award winner. Very excited today to have our good friend Brittni Paiva with us. Woo-hoo!
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So, and then this is our ArtistWorks Check-in. And for this check-in, what we do is we take questions from the forums from our ArtistWorks students, and then if we have time, we try to answer questions in the live chat and all that great stuff. Students have some great questions. It's funny because we used to do this in Zoom, and then we made it public because we were like, there's so many good questions that our students have. We might as well let everyone hear the answers.
Absolutely. Share all the knowledge.
I know, right? So, and we have so many awesome guests like yourself. So then it's like, let's do it.
Now,
So
I do have to chime in really quick.
Okay.
Because if you look at Brittni, let me do a close up on Brittni. If you look at Brittni,
Yes.
she looks so young,
She still looks like a baby.
but yet she was doing more. She's had so much experience and commitment to her craft. A lot of people don't realize that when we even thought about touring for the first time, Brittni was already
She's already
doing
toured the world.
everything. She was
Yeah.
already kicking butt, had her merch game on point, had all these albums,
Yep.
was innovating with the instrument and her performances, and
Yeah.
in many ways helped pave the road for so many of us. So Brittni, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, it's true. A lot of people forget. It's been a while, and plus, now that you're making a huge, kind of statement on who you are now and what you want to be doing, I love reminding people that you have
Yes.
already
Thank
so
you.
much under your belt.
And she's on the cover of the new upcoming Ukulele magazine, y'all. If you haven't seen
that's
it.
out. Yeah.
There's a big old, I was so excited when I found out about it because it was like, yes.
Yeah. It actually worked out perfect. I had just gotten new photos done. Shout out to Laurie Smith of Millennium Media over
Sweet.
in Canada. She's a
Fantastic.
friend of mine, and she was vacationing here with her mom. Right after the interview, and so got new pictures done.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just in time for
Nice.
That's
the
sweet.
magazine.
Now, one thing, I know you just put us up in this, Craig. One thing I totally didn't have you do that I'd love for you to do if you don't mind. Can you share some music with us, please?
Sure, yeah. I'll play. I think I'll play Europa because that's
And
it's
it's great.
a classic. And then I think we have a question about Europa. Right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so we could even start with that after you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I always love how cleanly you play.
Thank you. I appreciate
And
that.
speaking of that, one of the questions that we have, Craig, it was a question about your tremolo. Before you put that down,
Yes.
your tremolo. They have issues with their. First, can you show us your technique for doing the tremolo? And second, what do you recommend for keeping your nails nice and hard? Because they have issues with their nails splitting.
Yeah, there are so many things that kind of come into play when it comes to tremolo technique, even down to, nail health and how we shape our nail even. Right now, I actually just cut it last night because I'm going to regrow it, but it's really important to not have any corners, on the inside of your nail especially. That's going to give that, sort of clackiness to the sound of the tremolo. As far as technique goes, when I do the tremolo, I'm not really, sideways on the string like that, but rather I'm, up and down like that. Yeah, attacking the string from the front of my nail. So let me see if I can get the side here. Yeah, so more like this, not like this. And I'm always bracing my hand with another finger. So in this case would be my pinky. And I'll be doing that. In terms of preventing your nail from splitting, I think the more you use your nail and the more you kind of let it grow like that, it does tend to get harder. Definitely keeping up with calcium and collagen, all of those things help with nail health as well. A lot of people do use nail hardeners, stuff that you can just paint on.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. And if that doesn't work, there's always acrylic as well. Yeah.
That's true. I know Brian uses acrylic, Jonah Davis.
I think Taimana uses acrylic too.
Yeah. She's pretty I don't want to say she's rough on her uke, but she definitely, there's a lot of power behind her
sure.
tremolo.
Yeah.
So I totally get the acrylics work well for her style.
I didn't realize you use your index.
Yeah.
Yeah, because interesting. So that is something to bring up, because there's no one way to do the stuff, right? Because then when you see Jake and you think, okay, I gotta do it like that, or because even Abe doesn't use thumb too. There's so many different ways.
Yeah, he does
right,
this.
Yeah.
For me, I do use my thumb, because I like to, like you said, I like to actually cradle with the other fingers.
Yeah.
And it gives that nice kind of support to go that back and forth.
But you do the same thing that Brittni does in that it's it's the way that your hand is with your nail.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. It's not to the side.
Yeah.
It's like that. Yeah.
But yeah, nice.
Yeah.
No matter what finger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent question. Sweet. All right, should we do the equipment question, Craig?
Oh, sure.
It's equipment. I'd like to upgrade audio recording quality. I'm using my iPad. Do you have any thoughts about the Zoom R4 multi-track recorder? It is a built-in mic. It also has 2 XLR inputs, 32-bit float recording, lots of good reviews, and in my price range. Any thoughts
So
on
let's
this kinds of
see
thing?
if... There we go. Yay! So this is the recorder in question. Now, these field recorders are awesome. This one I don't have a lot of experience with, but my typical advice for these kind of electronics is to avoid the entry-level line if possible. I think I started with the old school Tascam, went to a Zoom H4 that lasted me 3-4 years, and then the H6 we traveled with
Yes.
all over, and we used that for a good
Was that
6
the one
years.
we recorded when we did our live? We added some
In the
live
UK,
tracks
yeah.
in the UK?
Yeah. The ones I'd recommend too, you can see at the bottom there, it has that built-in mic. That mic would not be the highest quality, just mainly because how tiny it is compared to something you don't have to go that far, but see how this is the old, these are the old school H5 with H4 and stuff, but higher quality built-in mics would be great. These are also great for getting ambient room noise so that you can still plug in, you know, from the board into the inputs down here, and have that mix of sound. You don't have to spend $500. That's crazy. I think like $250 is a. Oh, see, look at this one right here, $209. Yeah, perfect. This, like, something like this it's, you know, it doesn't have 32-bit float, but to be honest, most people will never need 32-bit float.
Right. 16 or 24.
Yeah, 24 is plenty of headroom.
Yeah.
32 is nice for us when we're shooting on location and we are like just running to get certain things. Like I get having the convenience of 32-bit float, but 24 is plenty. But I do love that, you know, how spoiled we are with electronics nowadays, where back in the day we really had to make some sacrifices to get certain features and whatnot. And you know, it always depends on what you need for the job. Like we have one of these that we use for like our shotgun mics when we shoot on location. But again, these kind of guys with a built-in XY type of mics are always really nice, and being able to make sure you have combo jacks. This one is XLR only. You want to be able to have combo jacks, so you can plug 1/4 inches in as well. We can do a whole deep dive on audio equipment later, but I if the R4 works for what you need, and David, I think that it was you that asked that question in the forum. I do think just one step up would last you for years longer.
Nice.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts, Britt?
Do you know if it's like a field recording or like?
I think he's just recording his video exchanges and like maybe.
Well, he's starting to write songs now
Yes,
too, so he wants to be able to capture it and
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I mean, coming from, you know, a studio background and songwriting background, voice memos on my phone, that's like my best friend.
Yeah.
You know,
dude.
I'm always recording my ideas on there. For expanding your, you know, just something to record into, you know, I'm assuming since he has an iPad, probably using GarageBand or Logic on the iPad. You can actually get an interface, you know, like the Scarlett.
Oh
you
yeah,
know, Scarlett interfaces for relatively an affordable price, and that just plugs right into your iPad or your computer, and you can just go straight 1/4 in. Yeah.
No, great thing too is a lot of these field recorders can be used as an interface as well.
Right. Yeah.
It just depends if you want to be studio only or being able to take it with you.
Yeah.
Because he does like play with the halal, so it might be actually useful to have a portable
right.
recorder.
But still, that's good to know because I forget. I was like, I have a Scarlett over on our side.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Awesome.
again, things have come down in price so much, which is so nice.
No.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So this
Okay.
is a question. They are having. So I have a problem when picking the barred A chord in the 4th position on the F shape. My ring finger tends to muffle the E note on the C string. So they're just having a general issue with barring. Any suggestions? I know, Craig, you seemed to have thoughts on this.
Oh, so F shape, 4th fret.
And then we'll see, because I know Brittni also has thoughts.
Yeah, to me, the C string should be the easiest to get, and if it's not, typically that means you're trying to bar R4 for this shape, which is fine, but then you do have to find that nice kind of exact spot. When I'm playing this shape, I will typically only hold 3 strings, and that way I know the tip of my index is easily going to hold down that C string while the rest get covered as well. So that would be a good place to start. I probably should tune. But yeah, so I mean, again, a lot of the bar chord shapes, you're not ever going to play it the same way exactly per, you know.
Yeah, it depends on what
instance,
comes before and after, right?
But a lot of times, if I know I'm going to it, if I'm coming from another chord, I'll slide that up, knowing that I want the 3, and then kind of go there. If I'm doing other stuff where I need to go all the way across, then yeah, I'll find that position for all 4, holding that down.
Yeah.
And Britt?
Nice. You got any?
Yeah, I do. I guess my comment would be where your thumb is placed in the back. That also it's gonna pretty much dictate how your bar feels and how it's gonna sound. I do know, you know, a lot of people tend to have their thumb, you know, just kind of up here with the bar chords, which in turn will give uneven pressure across your index finger. So what I would suggest is bringing it down to, you know, the halfway point here, and then shifting your wrist forward a little bit. So
Nice.
it gives a little more, you know, directing the energy toward the top of your index finger rather than the back of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also the other thing too that I have no idea if this is in tune. We'll find out. All right. Is the other thing I also want to remind people too is Craig and I talk about pulling the instrument into your body, because I don't even need my thumb, right? Because I can pull in and make sure that I have. That's another thing that you can also think about too, is being able to pull in. And then where your thumb is a cherry on top, right? Whether you put it here, well, you can't see where I'm putting it. But for me, being able to do this, and that's actually how I do all of my chords, is I always have a little bit of counter pressure going on no matter what I'm playing. And that actually has me using bigger muscles in my arm and stuff too. So that's another thing. Just make sure you're doing that and you're not only squeezing, because if you're only squeezing, your hand will only last so long at the gig.
Yeah. I did a workshop thing on the Big Island in November.
Yeah.
And one of the attendees of the workshop, I guess he's part of an ukulele group there. And
Yes.
the instructor, the leader of the group, has no left thumb.
Oh, well.
And so that just kind of like, it blew my mind that, you know, like
Yes.
he's able to hold like, you know, full chords, and, you know, that
And
goes
doesn't have a
back to
thumb.
just, you know, applying that
Counter
pressure
pressure,
back.
yeah.
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 Because that was something I had to work on when I first started. I was just death grip the entire time, and I was
Yeah.
like, why can't like that 6-year-old like just rip, and I'm like struggling with like chords, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of it was like learning how to use that pressure more than the squeezing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also had to change how I played, because I early on tended to do what you were saying, where you would have your thumb kind of like up here as you'd bar, but then I would get this crazy nerve pain sometimes because I'd be pressing in like the wrong place, right? With my finger. So then I started using counter pressure instead, especially for like the 3-hour gigs where you're like playing bar chords constantly and just comping. It was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna die. So then once I finally like started doing the counter pressure, it was like, oh, well, I can do this gig now, and I'm not gonna die.
Yeah.
Well, and again, for those of you who are hurting yourselves a little bit, a reminder that when we're playing on stage or even at a gig for like 3 hours, I wish everyone got to experience what Jake sounds like from the wings, because he's actually not playing that loud or that hard, but because again we're amplified, we could fill a stadium of sound, right?
Yes.
But again, we're not, even when he's doing the fast strumming, he's not actually strumming that loud. So, you know, we tend to play louder when we're in jams and groups because we want to hear ourselves. We're fighting, 50 other people strumming as loud as they can. So that's the issue. So again, when you practice, try to practice soft, and everything will be more relaxed.
Yes. Yeah, because when you strum softer, this hand lightens. It just naturally light softens your touch.
Man.
Yep.
If you aren't banging away at it, like if you're tense with one hand, the other hand will tense up.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Question for all three of us. I know you all have musical training from an early age. Would you describe yourself more as someone who plays by reading sheet music or by ear, or a combination of both, and which do you prefer? Brittni?
I actually do both. Starting off my musical journey with piano, classical piano. I learned how to sight read. In very rare occasions, I will, still sight read. I'll have my iPad there with the sheet music, and I just did a gig last year with a quartet, so that I just sight read the whole gig. So I will do that from time to time. I prefer to learn by ear. Yeah. There are some instances where there's so much going on in the arrangement that, the bass is playing one note and it's not going to be the root note. It's going to be something else. And then there's something else going on over here. So for that, I'll go and look for the sheet music for the entire arrangement of whatever it is that I'm learning, and just so I can know what direction to go on my ukulele. Yeah.
Nice. Craig?
If we're a play by ear or there's benefits of both. You don't want to be only, reading off the music. You tend to get to bubble in your bubble or tunnel vision of what, you're not listening to what's happening. But at the same time, if music is a language, it's nice to be able to tell someone, not just, oh, do this, da 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 da, but you can say, oh, do this and this because of this and this and this. It's nice to be able to explain and your thought process. So to me, the more knowledge you have in that sense, the more fun music is.
Yes.
And the more you can communicate with others. I think, again, just going back to the language thing, it's just nice to have as much as you can.
Yeah.
And there's benefits of both. There's benefits of being able to actually write things out. Like, and even though I'm listening by ear a lot, I kind of have the notes in my head, and I'm not necessarily the staff, but I yeah. So it is kind of a combination of both for sure. Yeah. Sarah?
I think so. For me, I use both. Did classical violin for 10 years, played it in orchestra and stuff. And the ukulele, it's funny because I had a good ear. I used to frustrate my violin teacher because she'd play the song and then I would just repeat it. Mm-hmm. And she'd be like, you're not reading the music. And so then I was basically, I don't want to say, because she was actually a really great teacher, but I basically kind of learned from that experience, though, that I shouldn't be using my ear. I should just be reading the music, right? Very classically oriented. And the ukulele was very freeing because I finally was like using my ear, because my teacher didn't write things down. He was just like, you play this, now you do it. No, that was wrong. Do it again. It sounds like this. Mm-hmm. So I love being able to use both. I reference music a lot now because I teach. Mm-hmm. So I do a lot of like sight reading and stuff only for the teaching, not necessarily for performance. Performance, if I have music in front of me, it's usually for especially jazz tunes. It's like it's going to just be a lead sheet where I just need to know where the chords are happening. And I'm not even looking at the melody line at all. I'm just like, oh, how many measures are we in? Oh, we're in the middle 8. I'll take a look at that, and then I can do that. And that's only if I'm not familiar with the song. And then I can just blast through standard. Yeah. But yeah, both is good. And it'll make you a better, more well-rounded musician if you could do both.
Right.
Okay, I want to go back. There's our good friend Rich in the chat was saying the problem with my ring finger is muffling the C string. So going back to that F shape A chord on that 4th fret, the only reason why your ring finger would muffle that C string is if this part of your hand is coming down this way off of the fretboard, because then your ring finger is going to collapse and touch the other strings. Getting the ball of your pinky closer to the side of your fretboard is going to give you that nice curve that makes it impossible for that ring finger to touch the other strings. So even like in the B flat type of shape, same thing here. The closer your ball, your pinky is to the side, you get that really nice curve, rather than once this kind of comes down, that ring finger is going to attempt to lay flat a bit more and touch the other strings. So again, just that small like inch of difference makes.
And everybody's hand is different. You'll get you'll find your spot, right, for your ukulele as far as that goes, getting the curve. But yeah, the closer you are to the neck, you'll get more curve and more. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember it, but that's okay. Thank you, Craig, for doing that. Are we good for our next question? Mm-hmm. Next question is, I want to practice different pop strum progressions. Yes. So this is somebody who they're in our ArtistWorks school. They're looking at the study materials, and they see that we have all of these different pop strums in different keys, and they're like, how do I know what chords you're playing so that I can play with you. So I believe in the actual pop strum lesson, Craig talks about the chords that he's playing. And so for the pop strum, we're referring to playing a 1, 5, 6, 4 progression. So if I'm in the key of C, the 1 would be C, right? My 5 chord, C, D, E, F, G would be in this case, it's a G major. If you said G7, you are also not wrong because a dominant 7 chord is based on a major chord. But in the context of this chord, the major chord is going to sound better because the next chord is going to be your 6 chord, which is C, D, E, F, G, A minor. And then your 4 chord is C, D, E, F, F major. So you're playing a 1, 5, 6, 4 progression. So if you're in a different key, then you just have to go through and do the math. But I also think I might have PDFs of all of the different ones we did. So double check the study materials just to make sure that, because I know I did it for the doo-wop progressions that are in different keys. I gave you chord diagrams. So just double check that too. And if I don't, maybe that's a new PDF that I should be making and I can put that in with those backing tracks too. But that's what we're doing, and I think Craig does talk about that in the lesson itself. All right, next question. All righty. Next question. I saw a few YouTubes of Brittni playing with some great guitarists. I wonder if the group could collectively discuss the challenges a ukulele player has when comping with a lead guitar player. Britt?
I don't think I personally see any challenges aside from sonically trying to fill in the gap, because like when a guitarist comps a lead ukulele player, there's so much low end and so much just resonance that's filling up the rest of the gap.
Yeah.
And then once we switch, it's like, where'd everything go? So I think that's probably the biggest challenge that I see. Whenever I'm playing along with a lead guitarist, I'm gonna play chords in the first position to get
as low as you can.
Yeah, as low as I can. Yeah. Definitely having the low G helps.
Yes.
Low G. Playing chords in the first position, having the low G, and then also playing having less of the A string in my chord. So I might even just do like a power chord type of thing, depending on what's going on melodically. But a lot of times I'm going to try and keep the notes as close together as possible. So one example would be E minor. I do not like this voicing of E minor. I will always play with that closed. Yeah, I'll close up that G string, and I'll bar the whole thing. That kind of just helps, fill in the gap a little bit more to what they're playing. I think that's pretty much the only challenge that I see is just sonically trying to keep everything together.
Yes, that's a very good point, actually. Yeah.
Nice.
Because when I first saw the question, I was like, well, you just make sure you keep good rhythm for them. That's really the biggest thing.
That too, yes.
Like, don't try to be fancy. Yeah. Stick with whatever the groove is. Stick with the groove.
Yeah, less is always going to be more when you're accompanying someone else.
Yes, because you want them to shine. Because if they're soloing, you don't want to. It's like talking over someone, right? You don't want to be like me.
Yeah, if you want to get like super nitty gritty about the technique, that I use when I'm accompanying another artist. My right hand will be a lot snappier. So if I'm just doing, let's try, a regular rhythm. I'm gonna tighten up my right hand, and it'll sound like this.
There's more emphasis.
Yeah, a little more emphasis. You don't hear all of the strings, individually as much. You're gonna hear it all at once. Yeah.
Nice. Excellent. Excellent answer. Craig, do you have any things that you want to add?
I feel like this is the one hardship about people picking up the ukulele as a solo instrument, because you're used to doing everything, right? You gotta hold rhythm, you gotta do things that are of interest. You're changing everything on your own. And this is it's not, like you said, it's not necessarily about a guitarist. It's playing with anyone. You have to change your mindset. What is your role? If you're all playing the same thing and just jamming out, that's one thing. But if you're trying to arrange, if you're trying to create something that not has purpose, but like there's such a reason why you're playing together as a performance. Know your role. What for that part of it. What is your role? Whether it's keeping just straight rhythm. For me, I think I dumb my rhythm down a little bit, or down. I don't try anything as fancy, just so that the person soloing has much more room to play with. As Brittni says, she tries to stay as low on her fretboard as possible, so that you don't overtake some of the notes that they'll use for the solo.
Right.
Things like that, and especially as a comp player, less is more when things like that happen. And also, come down in volume. You don't want your soloist fighting over your volume too, because some people are so cute. They're like, "Oh, take it away," but they're like strumming so hard. I'm like, dude, I can't even hear myself, because especially if the soloist is playing, one note runs.
Yes.
You're fighting 4 strings, at the same time. So there's a lot to think about, but a lot of it is just play with intent. And, like the golden rule, if you're soloing, what is your ideal comp person doing? And kind of trade off in that way. But it's a whole other beast to think about. And that's why you'll see Jake completely change how he plays, whether he's playing solo or he's playing in a group like Pure Heart. And for me, I grew up with him playing with Pure Heart than I did him playing solo. So that was like my golden age of Jake in that sense, where he could do so much more because he had more freedom. He didn't have to carry everything with one instrument. Not that to say he doesn't do a good job solo, but I love hearing him in a group. And I think one of the most innovative things that Brittni has done early in her career, where I think watching you at festivals for the first time, you were already playing with a backing, band, which is yourself. You're doing other instruments, and already had so much more sound because not everyone could travel with a band. So you're kind of cheating, I mean. But it reminded us that ukulele is one piece of the puzzle, not all. And there is room for the solo ukulele player, but to me, nothing beats the joy of playing with others and the sound that you can create.
Well, it's play. We play music, right? And play is way more fun with other people.
Yeah.
Right?
I think we're seeing that now. We're seeing more and more ukulele players experiment with bass and experiment with baritone and guitar, just to see how they can make their group sound even more deep in that sense.
Right.
So it's been really, really cool to see.
And I think that experimentation is essential for you to learn what your role is when it comes to whatever you're playing, whatever instrument you're playing with, with another artist. It's important for you to know how everything sounds. It's important to study, where this particular sound fits in a full band. And so when it comes down to, you and just one other person, exactly what to do and where everything is supposed to sound, how to get the sound that you're looking for to maximize.
I mean, even like tambourine on some songs, like it makes this, but you're in the back with the tambourine, you don't feel as important, but oh my gosh, the layering makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Tambourine can also break your song too.
We need cowbell,
Cowbell.
just
Yes, but I mean, again, but you guys are right. I just like making a lighthearted joke at the end. But yes, you're absolutely right. Alrighty. Oh, that's right. This one. Okay. My Kala mahogany ukulele does not sound good plugged into my Fender acoustic amplifier, and the pickup chews button batteries like crazy. I've tried adjusting the settings on the amplifier, but it all sounds terrible. Is it operator error? What do you suggest? Craig, did you want to start, or do you want Brittni to start?
I mean, if it chews through batteries, that I feel like there's something wonky going on with the pickup. We need to know a little bit more information. I'm sorry I didn't see this in the forum earlier. I would have asked ahead of time. But like, have you tried other instruments in that,
In the
amplifier just to see if it's the amp or the instruments or the cables or there's here.
There's so many
I
factors.
know, and nothing is worse than showing up to a gig and just something's not right, and you have to go through your whole chain. You have to check and usually it's like your battery in your pickup.
Yeah. Well, like the time I came here, and both of my ukes were broken, and all my pedals.
That's right.
So stuff happens.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. But that's why you need to know what to do when things don't go right. You got to be able to troubleshoot.
But the going through batteries things makes me
Yeah.
it leads
Yeah.
me towards something's up with your pickup.
Yeah, there's a short, it seems like, and it's just
and that's probably
constantly-
making a bad sound come out of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's yes. But more information about it, like if you've tried other instruments in it, like write in the forum and let us know, because that's something. Yeah. It's,
We should invite Jake over and do like a amplifier review since he has like all of the amps.
that's I think we just go to we set up shop at his home.
True.
In his
True.
Studio, so
Yeah,
he doesn't
he
have to
has,
bring
he
it.
has fiber. He was one of the
I mean,
first ones.
he
that was
has
doing fiber,
everything
yeah.
in action packers. So like he'll just throw them in his car and then show up with like containers and containers.
Oh
of
my gosh! Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, everyone needs a friend like Jake so you can test all of the things.
I know.
And
It's so nice, actually. And he's always so the other thing too I really appreciate about him is he's really giving with his time. When you ask a question, like he will genuinely like research and tell you, oh, I have found da 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 da, and it's like,
yeah, it's just really sweet.
thanks, buddy. Like you're so thoughtful, which is really cool. And and it's like he'll be like in Connecticut or something. I'm like, you didn't have to answer this right away. Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we need more information, but we'll first thing
Yeah.
is try different ukulele or instruments with that amp just to see if it's the amp itself.
And
If-
different cables too, just to see, make sure it's not the cable, because we have had that happen where it's like
Yes.
we had there was this like horrible high pitched hum kind of sound, and we were like, what is that? It took us a while, but we eventually found like the cable. It was one specific cable.
And then we had pickups go bad too.
Oh yeah.
And they just things
I've
happen.
had my Pono. I had a Pono that I played for years and years and years, and my pickup had issues twice. I had to have it fixed because something came disconnected. And it's not like I was rough with the instrument, but just over time and all of that. It was a passive pickup too, which I now I'm like, I don't know how I did that for so long, because I did not.
Yeah, being supported by a company. We all three of us here work with Campanella. They've been so good about like, something is kind of wonky. Please check it out. And like, oh yeah, this pickup needs to get just swapped. Things like that. So the best answer to get help with your gear is get sponsored.
Right. Nice, Craig. Something everyone can do.
That's the secret. Easy.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yes.
It's perks.
Because I can't imagine, starting out as a professional and not, because I still don't know how to like I don't know how to shape my bridge and all that kind of stuff. I don't have the time or like.
But Jake does that
But
stuff.
Jake, I know
Jake's
yeah.
I mean, that's part of why he's where he is, right? But like, he'll
shapes the
his
saddle,
bridge
and
saddle
he'll
all that.
bring a bunch of them on tour.
Yeah.
And like and it's just like I need to like memorize the song. But I guess when you travel with a team, it helps too. So otherwise just travel with a team. Yeah.
Right? Yep. I saw where that was going.
That's the secret sauce to all of this. It's
Oh
just,
my God. Have your own sound man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have somebody to change your strings for you.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just have everybody do everything.
That would be nice.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, instead of the vibrator thing to open up the uke that kind of helps with the
Tone something. I forget
yeah,
what
he
it's
just
called.
has someone now that just shakes it. On the tour, what's just been too good.
Oh no. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh, must be nice.
Oh.
Must be nice.
Oh, funny. That's hilarious. Oh, and somebody had asked about the uke I picked up. They're like, oh, is that a platinum? No. No, it's this guy. It's the low G ukulele. When we have students ask questions and I need low G, I've got this.
Does it happen often, Brittni?
Oh, come on.
What?
The low G.
Oh,
But yeah, it's a deluxe one. You could buy this. It's like just something they pulled off the shelf, and I was like, I need an ukulele for low G, please. And they were like, here, how's this one? Because I needed it to also have a pickup.
Get sponsored. See, it all comes down to the.
Yeah, and this is also one you can't see it, but it does have you can see it up close. It has a crack because Cameron.
oh, that's the one.
That's the one.
No,
yes.
no.
Yeah. So this is the one that has it's so
But
Cameron.
it's not the
You
other
can't
one.
tell.
You
It
can't
looks-
tell.
It looks like it's part of the grain.
So yeah. So yeah, Cameron, when he was really little, accidentally hit it off a table, and the battery went boom, 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 boom inside. Yeah,
Oh yeah, they still have our other custom, yeah.
I think so.
That's right. I gotta ask about it.
Bless our sponsors. Thank you, Campanella. Okay, next question. But yeah, as you can see, it's abalone. It was not the we are not fancy enough for the platinums.
That's like bougie.
Yeah, that's very fancy. Our instruments are fancy.
Brittni, there's a question in the chat. Playing with Chord and Ukulele, you had a stifled strum with hand near the bridge.
Yes.
Can you explain that technique further?
Yeah.
And you have to be careful because we are, Brittni now only does these kind of cameos when we have to pay per note. So, gotta be careful.
Yeah. So it's essentially a muted strum, and what I do is I take the side of my hand here, and I just kind of put it. You gotta find the sweet spot. You don't want to be too far in front of the bridge. Too far in front will make your notes be too dead, and it'll go sharp a little bit. So I find like literally right on the other side. There we go. And that allows me to get a muted sound. So you can get like that, punk rock sort of thing. Yeah, so I do that sort of thing a lot. And it's really just to add a little more character, different flavor to your notes and what you're playing. Yeah, so go ahead and try and experiment with that, finding that spot. Like I said, too far in front, it goes sharp and you just won't hear anything. So you want a little bit of resonance, and that's like pretty much directly in front. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, nothing is scarier though when like the note totally rings when you're not expecting it. It's like botching a harmonica and it's just like an open like blah.
Well, I did that in Europa. Yeah. Well, it happens.
Yeah,
Yes,
does.
it does.
It
It
happens.
does. Now, another question. What is the difference between chord melody and fingerstyle ukulele? Is it a good idea to learn chord melody first before fingerstyle? So you can play chord melody with fingerstyle. So like it's weird how but if you're learning fingerstyle, you're not necessarily learning chord melody. It's a style of playing. So fingerstyle is a style of playing, but basically it's where you're using multiple fingers in order to be able to either playing arpeggios, picking patterns, or whatever. That's fingerstyle. You're using multiple fingers. You're not just strumming. So the second question is like you don't have to learn chord melody before fingerstyle. But I totally get the confusion though, because But do you have any thoughts on that, Britt?
Not really. I think you pretty summed it up pretty well. I think it's really important to just when it comes down to actually learning how to do both, just do arpeggios over chords. That's probably like you start at square one, play chords, and then do any type
Anything.
of right hand pattern. Yeah.
Yep. And I found for myself when I was a beginner learning picking patterns, finding cute little phrases to help me remember, as opposed to thinking index, thumb, Craig's one of inside, outside. That's like inside strings, outside strings, inside, outside, rest, EC, or whatever it is you need to do to help you, like, or strawberry pancakes, or whatever it is that you need to do. Like, I found those kinds of cute phrases helpful when I'm trying to learn arpeggiations, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Chi.
I think it's just a good reminder, though, as you're trying to progress that side of it and that technique, maybe don't do a bunch of chords.
Well,
maybe just stick with the right hand and try to
One hand at a
nail
time.
down that pattern first. Because when you're trying to do that, plus add in like new chord shapes that you're trying to, you know, it's so much harder and it just takes much longer for you to get everything down. Because then once the right hand is down, then apply chords, then apply these cool, you know, progressions.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want to be playing, you know, Uncle Benny Chong type stuff when you're first learning on your left hand. But yeah, I mean, sometimes, you know, just playing the simple chord inversions just to give it some tone, so it's not just thumping, you know.
Yes.
I love telling my students that just sit there and play the C chord in whatever different inversions of C you want to play.
Yes.
Yeah, so it makes it interesting.
Yep.
Yes.
And then also I found for myself when I was working on arpeggiations, I liked practicing in front of a mirror because it means you're not looking down as you're playing. You're watching your hand in the mirror, and then you'll find it's a lot easier for you to play. And then so that when you actually go to apply it to a song or something, you won't be forced to look down because you're so used to doing it and looking forward. You can even glance at this hand to make sure
So
you're
do you
doing
used to practice while you play talking to the hand in the mirror?
I'm talking to the hand in the mirror.
Sorry.
Craig, I just liked your little dance right before that. Like you were just like, I have something amazing to share that I can't keep my tail still. Like that's yes, Craig. Yeah, but that's something that I do recommend for folks because then it gets you out of the habit of looking down. Or you can do what what Herb's dad used to force him to do, which is lay on the floor and play and close your eyes.
Except Herb closed his eyes and stopped smiling forever.
All his joy gone, lying on the floor playing ukulele with his eyes closed.
We gotta get one of those mouthpieces that force a smile, and just for one gig, have him wear that for like the entire.
That would be hilarious. I would pay to go to that concert.
Oh my God, poor Herb.
Another recommendation for the mirror thing is if it's on a wall, go as close to it as possible. For those of you who don't have like a sound port, you know, again, all your sound from your ukulele then goes out, right? So again, we tend to play louder because we can't hear ourselves as well. So when you play in front of a wall or like a mirror that's really close, you're actually going to hear what you actually sound like. If you're not being plugged in and all that kind of stuff. But even acoustically, this is as close to what you're going to get as possible. And I learned, again, little things will remind you how sloppy of a player you are. One of them is hearing yourself better, like, again, having that ricochet off the wall, plugging in for the first time. Oh, man.
First time
I was
in studio,
ready to quit.
I cried. It's like, ugh.
Wait, you can hear when I just slide my hand. That sounds horrible. You know, like that pluck, I can hear every ridge in my nail. Like, oh my gosh.
My favorite is like, I can hear my ukulele rubbing on my pants. Like there are certain pants we've discovered, like I can't wear certain pants in studio.
Yeah.
Because like jeans in particular, the way it rubs, it makes this really weird.
We had to have a studio set of clothes for recording. Yeah.
But when I record today, I actually have like, I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, especially, you know, during Christmas time, I have like my Christmas sweaters and stuff. It's like I don't even know what type of material it is. It's like microfiber, but not like the kind of sticks to your hand, but it's like super soft. And so I have pants that are the same way. So I'm wearing that, and I actually cut the sleeves off of one of the first. Yeah. So because it gets warm in the studio, so yeah, I just wear that in the studio, and you can't hear anything, which is nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. Don't wear jeans in the studio.
No.
I learned back in the day, like I can't perform standing up with a long sleeve shirt. It just flies out, and didn't know that until my first gig in a long sleeve shirt, you know.
Because you're an organ. Of course you're going to need long sleeves. Oops.
Yep.
Oopsies.
Yep.
Yep. And then also, as a lady, I'm sure you potentially ran into this issue. Sometimes I started using a strap because for performance, a lot of women's clothing is slick. And if you aren't holding it quite right, it'll slide right off your dress. So that's part of why I like to use a strap for performing, because
Yeah.
if I have a slick material on, it's like, and I can't wear sequins because you get that like, and it like scratches up your yoke or beading. Though I love me some beaded dresses. But there's a question earlier in the chat. Brittni, you use a looper a lot. Can you explain your setup?
Yeah. I'm actually in the process of kind of trying to revamp my entire stage equipment setup. But currently I use the Boss ME70. Why I use that specific pedal is I think they're out to like the ME90 right now. To the best of my knowledge, the ME80 and the ME90 don't have the option of using the expression pedal to control your loop volume.
Oh.
The ME70, I think, I might be wrong, but the ME70 was the last one that gave you that option to switch between input volume and loop volume. And so when I came here to record the backyard session,
Yep.
that was when my first ME70 died. And
That was a sad day.
yeah, I was without it for such a long time, and the setup that I had just was not good. So I was fortunate to find one on eBay from Japan that was basically brand new.
Yeah.
So I ordered that.
Wow.
But yeah, the ME70 it's great. I also believe the ME70 was the last version with an analog reverb. So it's very warm. I don't use over half the pedal because there's like, distortion and all those other amp modelings that I don't ever use. So I just use it specifically for looping. Currently, my current setup is the Grace Design Alex preamp DI, which is like probably warmer than the DW Fern DI that Brian so
Yes.
proudly uses.
Yes, that monster.
Yeah, the big red brick.
Yeah.
So I use that, also Analysis Plus cables as well. And then I use a Peterson strobe tuner as part of my setup.
The stomp pedal or the clip-on?
The stomp pedal.
Yeah. The old school big one?
No.
That one was so big.
No, it's like super tiny. I actually have it
Okay.
in my bag, but it's super tiny. And you can change the colors of the display.
Ah.
Yeah.
Because the first version was like this gigantic,
huge,
like
yeah.
it didn't have to be that big.
It had like a handle you carried.
That's hilarious.
But it's one of the most accurate tuners. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Funny. Oh, and there was there's another question in the chat. I just wanted to do it. It's actually because somebody commented on my shirt. Thank you. I'm glad you like my shirt. And then also somebody said, if we order the black shirt, can we pick it up at the retreat instead of having it shipped? So real quick, for those of you out there, this shirt is one of the exclusive colors, or is the only exclusive color for our Ukulele Club shirts. We had these designed by Miley Girl Designs. She's a local artist. And it's the lantern Ilima, but Ilima is the flower of our island, Oahu, and then of course the ukulele is being made into a flower as well. But this color you get through donating a certain tier to our Ho'okanipila program, our elementary school program. This is at 4stringsatatime.org. But we do have the black shirts for sale, the black shirts, which is the same design but with black. If you are coming to the retreat in March, or if you're coming on island for Ukulele Club, you can choose the pick up option. I know it'll say you're picking it up at club, but
We'll have it at retreat.
I'll have it at the retreat if I know if especially if you like write me and say, hey, I'm doing this. But yes, Rob, I can, if you want to order your black shirt, I can give it to you at the retreat. Those of you who might have ordered that are coming to the retreat that paid for shipping,
We can reimburse.
I can reimburse you, yes. So, but that's real quick, our little pitch for that. Yes. Oh, funny. And I love how Sam saying, playing guitar in a silk shirt, you needed a strap. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Well, Sam, we're just not as fancy as you
This is
with
true,
the
you're
silk
fancy.
shirts, so
I think I have one last forum question.
Okay.
The forum question is, what is Campanella style? Y'all?
Yeah.
All right.
So
Britt?
Brittany's gonna do a master class on that right now.
Shoots.
I am not very good at Campanella style. James Hill, Daniel Ho, you know, a lot of the classically trained guys.
Jeff Peterson.
Jeff Peterson,
Daniel
yeah.
Ward.
Yeah.
Daniel Ward.
They're all so good at Campanella style. And it's, so Campanella basically is you're kind of switching between strings, I guess, to complete your melody. So, for example, like going through the first few notes of the C scale, you'd be doing, you know, open C, and then hitting your, well, I have a low G here, but hitting your D note here. So
you hear this, how the
Yeah.
strings and the notes are
your notes
going
are
in.
overlapping,
Yeah.
and it's just really beautiful. There's a lot of Irish music that's
Mm-hmm.
you know done in Campanella style as well.
Yep.
So it's very specific to certain genres, but it's a whole different skill set, one that I do not have.
Same. I fake it when I have to. When I fake it when I have to teach it. Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely like the main thing is just you need to make sure that the notes blend with each other and
Right.
overlap each other. So you're gonna play like as Brittni stated, like you're not gonna go right. It's gonna end up being, you know, whether you do your C here because I have a low G now too, where they overlap or whatever. But usually, lots of open string business too.
All right, so that's the last of those questions. So I have a couple questions for Brittany.
Oh.
Brittany, top 3 moments of your career.
Ooh, okay. Playing with Carlos Santana.
I suppose.
I suppose that's a
I guess that could be number one. What would be number 2? I think Tommy Manuel.
I was about to be is it Tommy?
Yeah, he's gonna be here this year sometime. I can't remember when. At Hawaii Theater.
Nice.
Let's see. What would be the 3rd? Okay, this is gonna sound kind of weird, but I think the moment that I started making a living from producing music.
Yeah, that's a great one. That doesn't sound weird at all. I
That's
love
awesome.
that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Top 3 experiences that made you want to quit music. Because the music industry is not easy. You know, it really isn't. And there are numerous struggles that, you know, people don't even talk about. But I want to make sure people realize it's not all roses and peaches and
Sunshine and roses.
yeah.
Yeah. Top
That
3
you're willing to
moments.
share.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can share them anonymously.
Yeah.
I would say being compared to other musicians endlessly. People thinking that I'm one artist when I'm not.
Yes.
Um,
I feel that in my soul.
Dude, you
Craig too.
can't even. You can't even.
Yes, she can. She can imagine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can. She can. I can. And then I think the last one would probably just be, especially being a female, and you know people think that they can take advantage of you, not just you know thinking that like you don't know what you're doing up here, you know, playing music, or you don't know how to produce music, but also thinking that they can take advantage of you in other ways.
Yes.
Which is not cool. And yeah, so I think there's that super ugly side to music that I've definitely experienced on numerous occasions, and it's whenever I deal with that, I'm just like I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But
This isn't worth it.
yeah, but now now if I see the BS, I call it out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Three things you wish you told yourself earlier. And this could be you as you or another up and coming artist that's like, you know, coming out of college or something like that. You know, anything that you wish people could have known better who are going into the field that you're headed.
Don't think that you're the best artist out there. There's always going to be somebody better. Sit there and absorb as much knowledge as you can. Sit there with the intent of learning, not with the intent of showing off later.
That's a good one.
And always do the right thing that aligns with your values and your morals. Don't sacrifice your values, morals, and integrity for the sake of a push forward in your career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep thoughts with Brittni. These are good.
Life experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's sometimes you have to go through it too, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I think we're really lucky with our generation of players where a lot of us don't have that chip. I think in some ways it's been easier because we talk more and we share more compared to some of the older generation. But at the same time, we have to wear so many more hats, though. That's the big struggle, I feel like, where we can't just focus on music. We can't just...
Yeah, I feel like especially in today's day and age, we have to be content creators. And we're musicians. We're not here to film, you know. And so people ask me, like, oh, why don't you post more on Instagram? I forget because I'm just, like, you know, wrapped up in what I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah,
and
you're making music.
Travel with the team.
Yeah,
Right.
Get yourself a videographer, hire Craig.
I feel so lucky that, like, the photo and video side was my passion, and I knew I wanted to combine it with the music. I feel so fortunate that I went that path, not only for myself, but just to, like, create more with my friends in that way. You know, where it's not we didn't have to always just, you know, let's go find a gig or let's go play out, because that's rough, man. Just relying on performance. Like, I don't even think it's possible nowadays.
Yeah.
It's incredibly hard. I know I have friends that gig, you know, 5, 6, even 7 days out of the week, and I'm just like, I really don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I've never been a regular gig type of person to begin with. And
well, then imagine if you get sick. Imagine if you sprain your finger or something.
yeah,
right?
which has happened before, you know.
Oh, it's so hard.
Yeah, and so I feel like, you know, being a musician, you also need to diversify what you do. You know, don't do just one thing, because, you know, we can tour and tour and tour, and eventually it's just going to be tiring, and you're gonna just be burnt out from it.
Yeah.
And, you know, so yes, I'll still go and travel and do gigs, but I also produce music at home.
Yep.
So yeah, diversifying and just enjoying all of it, because I'm not burning out in one thing.
And that's a good reminder for you out there too, is remember why you're going through this, the hardships of playing B flat, the hardships of, you know, again, you want to have fun with this, you want to enjoy yourselves. And yes, there is a little bit of, like, you know, there's some artists that say, oh, you know, don't call it practice, just play. I'm like, you got to get to a certain point where you can just play, you know. So just know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but don't get so frustrated on that path, because some of that your experience on that path is what makes it worthwhile to begin with, and you discover things about yourself. Just find ways to challenge yourself, but remember the end goal. And if something is getting you stuck, move on, come back.
Yes.
And not just that, but reach out to all of us. You know, we're here to help.
We've all been through it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Brittni looks like, you know, she's a robot because she can just fly through these things. But again, she was playing since she was like 8 months old, you know? Like, no, but we don't let you guys see the struggle as much as we probably should, you know? And, you know, when we first started out, I used to practice 4 to 6 hours a day. Like, I was so excited. I wanted you know, it's like training for that marathon. You know, you just put in the time, but it's fun. It's not like ever like, I hate doing this. You know, you never want to get to that point. So usually when there's a stumble or a blockage,
Yeah.
just move on. I come back. There's something about resetting that makes it just magically connect later.
Yes.
Yep.
Sometimes your brain just needs a moment, right?
Yeah.
Like it needs a moment to process whatever it is you're trying to do. You've tried it, and then you're like, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be back.
But I promise you, you're not the only one.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
promise.
Nice. This has been an awesome chat.
Yeah. So again, you know, so
is
huge
great.
shout out to our ArtistWorks students. If
Yes,
you want to
thank you,
learn more
guys.
from us, you can check out CraigandSarah.com/lessons. There's like a 40% off President's Day sale
Oh,
happening.
yeah.
So go through that.
Yep.
Brittni Paiva also does lessons, has a bunch of
Yes.
tabs out.
That you can
Check out
order.
BrittniPaiva.com.
Yep.
And any chance you get to see her perform, go. You won't be disappointed. But Brittni, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank you,
joining us
guys.
today.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun, and thank you for you know, being so transparent and honest with your answers as well. And,
I try to be these days.
It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it's easier that way.
Yeah.
Honesty's the best policy.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, thank you guys who joined us live. I know Teko is all the way in Japan that joined us for this. But for
Early.
us, yeah, we love teaching, but we also love just being able to converse with our friends and just talk about things that we've all shared experiences and learn more about each other. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah.
What's happening next? Do we have our workshop live stream next week?
Workshop live stream. Yes, I believe it is next week. Yes. Transposing. So yes, February 22nd, transposing workshop. We're going to be meeting and just playing in all the keys. So that's going to make you practice playing in all the keys. We talk a little bit about modulation too, because that kind of goes hand in hand with it. And then after that, we have our March. We have Ukulele Club of Hawaii, which is going to be March 15th, and that's going to be the entire board leading. We just made that decision, so it's going to be a ton of
Oh, is
fun.
the Blue Note show that day too?
Blue Note show is also that day. We're going to be going to the Blue Note, and it's Cynthia Lynn's show. It's
U3,
it's
yeah.
U3, and then Craig and I will crash it for a couple songs, and then
Sunday our retreat.
Sunday our
starts.
retreat starts, and we're going to see a lot of you folks at the retreat. Brittni will be there. Woo!
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. So we're going to have a great time and all that good stuff, but that's what's coming up. And ArtistWorks students, I know I have some VEs that are slated specifically for Sarah. I'll be doing those on Monday,
Tomorrow.
which is tomorrow. Yeah. And then I've got some other stuff I have to record for ArtistWorks for a special live stream thing that they are hosting for us that you guys will hear more about. So thank you guys so much for joining us, Brittni. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Awesome. Thank you guys so
Sweet.
much.
Awesome. Aloha, everybody.